road to fame and fortune, which can claim to be Wales's first national sport. Welsh handball, played in singles and doubles, is rather like squash, but using the palm of the hand. Former miner and historian of handball, Kevin Dix, is an enthusiast for keeping this game alive.
Hi Kevin, how are you doing?
How are you doing? This is the Nelson Handball Court, where we play handball, or Pello in Wales.
Say that again.
Pello.
Pello.
And it's the last court in Wales. And there used to be handball courts everywhere in Wales. Absolutely. In fact, there was more handball courts in Wales at one time than there are rugby pitches today.
Really?
Can you believe that?
Kevin believes the first reference to Welsh Pello was in the 9th century Historia Brittonum. Many cultures across the world have a tradition of games played with the palm, like pelota, which originated in the Basque country of Spain. Ireland has its own Gaelic version, which is still played in the Emerald Isle, and a version played as doubles survives as Eton fives. The main requirement for the game are 3 walls, and the Welsh version flourished where fine stone walls were most readily available.
It found a home in the churchyards, and it was purged out of the churchyards by the Methodists because of the damage it used to do. And in fact, there's a church in Llanfair Discoed near Caer Went, and it says there, whoever here on a Sunday will play at ball, before Monday, the devil will have you all. Because they called the game the devil's game because of the damage it did to the church.
Let that be a lesson to you, Kevin.
Well, I'm really worried about that, Phil, because whenever I get a game now, it's on a Sunday morning.
That's not good at all.
Watch my step then.
The sport attracted crowds of spectators, and much gambling accompanied the matches. A handbill from 1786 lays down a Britain-wide challenge with big prizes at stake, up to 400 guineas, a fortune at the time. Many courts were attached to public houses, which were multiplying in the Victorian period. The Nelson Court, the last in the land, was built in 1865 by the landlord of the pub across the street, the Royal Oak.
Kevin, why is this pub so crucial in the history of handball?
When they redeveloped the public houses with the onset of deep mining in South Wales, Henry Roberts had the foresight to build the handball court away from the property. So when all the old stone-built inns were swept away, the handball courts all disappeared. But at Nelson, we left with Henry Roberts' ball court outside the property, and when they rebuilt the hotel as we see it today, as a large building, then it preserved handball in the community.
The loss of all those other courts attached to demolished old pubs made people like Kevin all the more determined to save this one, mindful of the game's importance to the culture of working folk.
So it's a massively popular sport, wasn't it?
Oh, it was huge at the time, yeah.
How many people used to attract to watch a top game?
There was upwards of 3,000, I would say,
really?
Standing around that court.
So our landlord could see bigger crowds.
Yeah, he
bigger
visualised
drinking,
crowds, more money in his till.
Correct. Good man, I like him.
Yeah. We were lucky in Nelson that we had the wall to play on, so we kept playing it throughout the 20th century, through the Depression, some great, very famous games then, up until about early 50s, when there was a bit of a decline in it for a short while, and then it came back with the Chamber of Trade when they started organising the sport in the late 70s and 80s, and then we formed the Welsh Handball Association in 1987, I believe.
Oh, that's good stuff.
And it led to international competition with teams from England, Ireland, United States, Canada. So we all became internationals overnight because nobody else was playing it.
So you're capped for Wales?
Capped for Wales, yeah.
Oh, that's fair, that.
And the proof is on the wall then.
Good man.
Kevin is one of a long line of champion players. Today, Phil can see former world champion Kerry and his son Alex in action.
They're showing how manly they are now, these manly Welshmen, see, playing in England.
Kevin, it's clearly a huge passion for you, but what's going to be the future of handball with this one court?
Well, it's very difficult to get kids to play the game anymore. There's so many different influences kids have got now as when I was young. But there is a movement with the English Wallball Association, and it is a future for the one wall game of handball, not just in Wales, but also into the rest of the United Kingdom and in Europe.
Well, you want it to survive, don't you? I mean, if this is Wales, if this is Wales's oldest kind of national sport, you really, really, really want it to survive and not die
We
out.
do, and people from all over the world love to play on this court. Come from Australia, United States. They make a special trip just to play on this one court, and we just need more kids playing it in the environment and just keep it going for the next 150 years. It starts with me and you having a quick game by here now, Phil.
Well, no, I'm more in favour of the après handball.
Okay.
Let's go and try a sample.
While Kevin and Phil retire to the Royal Oak,